Well, on behalf of our former superintendent, Mr. John Bernard, I'd like to welcome everyone here to tonight's induction of the class of 2022. Congratulations. That's going to be a wonderful night. But I'd like to introduce the committee, and if you just stand and please hold your applause to the end. They're in the back right there. First, I have Mike Maloney. Hold on, just hold your applause in. Joe Casey. Chris Hansen. Mark Visignano. Carson McClellan. Who's selling raffle tickets back there. Craig Jameson. Joe Davis. Satiti Pansopoulos. Scott Ellis. And Frank Kerr. Want to honor past recipients, and we also hope that this is a tradition that we continue for many of these events to come. Sometimes it's hard getting a hold of people. You don't really know, sometimes addresses change, cell phones, people, so if you have an opportunity to get that to us, we really would love to have everybody here who's been inducted, allow you to kind of welcome in the next class. But first, and I hope I have all these people right here, the class of 2008, Gary Lingram. Thank you. Just stand, Gary. Just hold your applause to the end. Greg Stewart and Steve Doig. Hold on, just guys, remain standing. Class of 2010, Vicki Hill. Class of 2012, Rich DiStefano and Peter Hill. The class of 2014, Billy Moss. See Billy here? I didn't think, okay. Class of 2015, Frank Carey. Tim Haynes, who I don't think is here. Pat Lee. Mike Fitzgerald. Mike here? No, okay. And Satiti Pansopoulos. Standing back. Class of 2017, Kerry Verdun. And I want to mention his name, Chuck Carucci, who couldn't be here tonight, but Chuck does an awful lot for this committee. And also, class of 2019, Scott Ellis, Brian Mon, and Tim Carassi. Congratulations, nice round of applause for all the former ones. And we hope this group grows, and please, welcome back. So spread the word. And finally, while we're here tonight, to pay tribute and induct the class of 2022. In front of us are 6 decades of athletic excellence at North Reading High School from 1960, I won't say who that is yet, all the way through 2015. But Ralph Bennett, class of 1963, an excellent football, cross country, basketball, spring track. Welcome, Ralph. Awesome. Nice, Ralph, go ahead. We also have Stephanie Main, class of 2007. Stephanie, your grand slam home run in the state title game is still legendary, so we're talking about it still. Brian O'Neill. Brian led the North Reading baseball team to back-to-back sectional finals in 2007, 2008. Congratulations, Brian. We also have Darren Hartwell, 3-sport athlete. And I was very proud to present Darren the senior year the Boston Globe Scholar Athlete of the Year, so congratulations for that. Emily Murray, class of 2014. She was the state shot put champion for senior year, followed by Cole Gazinski. In 2014 and 15, she was the 100 meters state champion. Congratulations. And I'm going to mention these two together, Bob Ramsdell and Larry Dysart. You put those two together and it's 70 years of running youth sports in the town and the people that they influenced, and I just got to lead a nice round of applause for both of them. And Vin Olivo, I think I had him knighted at one time, so. But Vin, basketball coach from 1959 to 72. I never knew Vin, but I've talked to him, to some people tonight that knew him, and I wish I did. They all say he was just a character. He was just a great guy, and somebody that you always want to meet. So a nice round of applause for Vin. And last but not least, finally, the state championship team of 1970. Congratulations. What can you say? Technically, back-to-back state champions. And you think about that, just look back the last 50 years, how hard that is to do. Not just in baseball, but any sport. And they did it with tremendous records and a great coach and a great team. So congratulations to the class of team of 1970. And finally, just for the class of 2022, congratulations on your commitment to North Reading, your commitment to your teammates, your family, your community, and thanks for being Hornets.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to commence our program for the evening. My name is Mark Vizignano. I'm a 1996 graduate of North Reading High School, and I'm currently the head coach of the boys soccer team and the boys tennis team, and assistant coach for the boys basketball team. That's all, yeah. We have a great evening planned. We're very excited to have our honored guests with us, and we're excited to do this. We started with this in 2005. We got together as a committee, so we're coming up on 20 years together as a committee, and we're just so honored to have great athletes and coaches from North Reading High School here with us, and we're very excited to induct a new group in tonight. Our first inductee was the boys basketball coach from 1959 to 1972 at North Reading High School. He won the school's first basketball Cape Ann League title in 1966. That team had a record of 15-3. Finished that 66 regular season with 10 consecutive wins, and that team went to the Tech Tournament quarterfinals. For those of you who aren't old enough to remember, the Tech Tournament was before the state tournament, and to make it to the quarterfinals for a school that size is quite an accomplishment. He was also a math teacher at North Reading High School, a well-loved veteran math teacher at North Reading High School, and went on to coach at Lynn Tech and Lynn English as well. Our recipient as a coach, an inductee in the class of 2022, boys basketball coach, Vin Olivo. Accepting on Vin's behalf is his niece, Marge DiVirgilio.
Thank you, Oscar.
So this is Barry Kipnis's poem to his mentor, Vin Olivo. He asked us to, in Vin's honor, to read a poem that he prepared for his mentor. So it is my privilege and honor to do that right now. So this is Barry Kipnis's poem to his mentor, Vin Olivo. Vin Olivo was my mentor. Vin Olivo was my friend. I never thought our relationship would so early come to an end. Vinny and I spent a lot of time together. He would often go to see the Red Sox. He would frequently come over to my place. He really enjoyed bagels and lox. I feel like I should be doing this in a Kipnis impersonation. Everybody's got one, right? All right. Vinny introduced me to coaching, much to the parents' disdain. I cost our players many scholarships to Duke. I really was a pain. I spoke at Vinny's funeral in 1992. I recited the 23rd Psalm. If only I had another chance, I would like to hold his palm. To fully understand Vinny was like no other. He could be a sarcastic SOB. To me, he was like a brother. There are certain people in this world who only go by one name. Much like the singer Elvis, on the North Shore, Vinny had that fame. And he concludes just by saying that Firma and he send his best from Scottsdale, Arizona. I could have got big laughs if I did the Kipnis impersonation. That's all right. Our next inductee. We are very, very fortunate in the town of North Reading to have tremendous help from the community, especially in athletics. Our youth sports are top-notch and send us great athletes who have the basics of their sport in hand, and it's due to great people who volunteer their time. This is one of those people. Larry Dysart is involved with North Reading Youth Basketball for over 45 years. He was involved with the North Reading Youth Basketball Board and started and led the girls program at North Reading Youth Basketball. This is the 50th anniversary, as many of you know, of Title IX, the great federal act that gave us the ability to have women's sports on an equal footing with men's sports. And I can't think of a better person for us to honor this year in the 50th anniversary of Title IX. Larry was girls basketball at the youth level and was at every game at the high school level watching his girls play. In addition to his work in North Reading, he also founded the River Valley Girls Basketball League, and he was also heavily involved with North Reading Little League in the 70s and 80s. Our community service inductee in class of 2022, Mr. Larry Dysart. Receiving Larry's award on his behalf is his daughter, Buffy.
You were just saying that if Frank Carey tells you to do something, you do it. And he said, I can say thank you, just make it quick. I'm Buffy Dysart, I'm Larry's daughter, and I'm the one who didn't want to play on my brother's basketball team, and therefore he started girls. And on behalf of my family, we're grateful to have the Hornet Hall of Fame honor my dad for his service to North Reading and the athletic community. It's a privilege to be recognized along with Bob and the rest of this year's class and past inductees, many of whom he knew personally, either through basketball, Little League, softball, or perhaps even chaperoning a middle school camping trip. My dad didn't get involved in sports for the credit or the attention. An event like this would have made him very uncomfortable. He wouldn't have dressed up, but my mom would insist he wear something nicer than his basketball t-shirt and track pants. I'm pretty sure that a purple shirt or sweater would be the compromise, so shout out to all of you in purple or orange tonight. And he probably wouldn't have much to say, other than his granddaughter and a few other people in the room. Most of us are, a decade or so past his target audience. What did make him comfortable and what he loved was coaching, teaching, and watching kids learn and grow. From North Reading youth to the high school sports, as a coach, board member, spectator, and supporter, the North Reading athletic and recreation community brought Larry joy. Thank you to the community and the committee for the recognition. To my family, my brother Lad, who's here, my brother Peter, who's in Iceland right now, my husband Jerry, my daughter Ainsley, for your support, and of course to Frank Carey for helping me navigate both the event tonight and how you care for a loved one in memory care. He brings hope and goodness everywhere he goes. Last, I want to thank my mom, Mary Lou, and all the other spouses and families who support and sometimes just barely tolerate the hours of work these crazy but passionate people put in to serve their community. Thank you.
Thank you to Buffy, and thank you as well to our next inductee in the community service category. If Larry was the first name that came to mind when you started talking about girls youth basketball in North Reading, I think our next inductee is the first name that comes to mind when you talk about the boys' side. Bob Ramsdell has been involved with North Reading Youth Basketball since 1988, served as the North Reading Youth Basketball president, and is currently the boys program director. The program has expanded in just incredible numbers since the time that Bob has taken over. The travel teams have more than doubled. The addition of 3rd and 4th grade, 7th and 8th grade, and 2nd grade in-town programs happened during Bob's watch. And he's also one of the founders of the Cape Ann Youth Basketball League and been involved as the referee coordinator for over 25 years. I was proud to play on a team coached by Bob, a great mentor, a tremendous basketball coach, and I can't think of anyone who has done more for the young people in North Reading when it comes to the sport of basketball, except for perhaps our previous inductee. And that's why it's so fitting that we're inducting both of these people tonight. Bob Rimsdale, our inductee, is community service for his work in North Reading Youth Basketball.
Thank you for the kind words, Mark. Mark was one of the first expansion teams that we put together in the 90s. We went from 12 teams to 48 teams in about 5 years. And the kids enjoyed it and we enjoyed it. I'm going to try to be brief. There's a couple. Mark asked me what I appreciated or took pride in the most. And one of them was the establishment of the Cape Ann Youth League. It entailed all the towns from the Cape Ann and put them together. Before then, I mean, you think things were organized, they weren't. There was no way to schedule games. You'd go up to Pentucket, you'd expect a game. Somebody would come out of the stands, they'd throw them a shirt and say, you refereed the game. So we got that straightened out. And the second one was the summer camp that I ran for 20 years. Darren Hartwell, who's one of the inductees, attended the summer camp, and he turned out pretty good. And the good thing about that, we made some money here and there, and we were able to install a second basketball court at Ipswich River Park, which is one of the things that I'm the most proudest of. Along with Pat Lee, that's the thing about North Reading. North Reading is truly blessed with people that work hard and give back to the community. Pat was one of them. Chuck Carucci was another. Rita Mullen, who I believe is a past inductee here. A gentleman named Ken Tarr, who sometimes doesn't get the recognition I think that he deserves. He's on the Land Utilization Committee in town. And there's a couple of other people I can't quite remember. But I've enjoyed my time dealing with the kids, and one of the best statements that one of my former players mentioned to me, that he said he knew he was on varsity the day that he looked in the stands and he saw me watching. And, that touched my heart, and I was happy for him and for myself. And I'm happy my family has been there behind me. I actually started with my daughter. Some people don't believe I have a daughter. But I coached her for a couple of years, and then Larry actually took her under his wing as an 8th grade travel player. And she went on, did quite well at the high school. And my son Bobby, the oldest, he was a beneficiary. He played in the first additional travel team with Mark. He played upper grade. And then my son Christopher, well, really, he got his chance. The first team he was on was a 2nd grade boys team. And he was a 1st grader, along with, he was a 2nd grader. But the team he played on was boys, and the teams they played against was girls. Because the first program that year, they only had 3 girls teams. So I said, you can't play a schedule with 3 teams. I said, I got 10 boys that'll play. And they got together and they had a good time. They won 1 game, but they had fun doing it. Kudos to my wife Margaret, who's been behind me, in front of me, pushing me, and it's been a fun ride. And, I thank the committee and the town for this honor, and thank you. Thank you, Bob. Before we
move on to our next inductee, we want to remind everybody the Hall of Fame Committee's chief fundraiser during the year is the annual turkey trot, run on Thanksgiving morning, 5K road race. If you're interested in registering, you can go to, Coach Davis, I'm always forgetting this one, northreadingturkeytrot.com, okay, northreadingturkeytrot.com. You can sign up there online. I'm told there are 250 already registered. We had 252, I'm sorry, came out. And we had close to 1,700 runners last year, I believe. So register now, get your t-shirt, make sure you get on the list. Our next inductee is from the team category. It's the 1970 Class C state champions in baseball. They had a 21-1 overall record. It was the second consecutive Class C title. This 1969 team had won as well. And it was the fourth consecutive Cape Ann League title, stretching back to 1967. The team was led by all-scholastic junior Peter Quinlan. Their only loss in the regular season was to Ipswich. They avenged that loss in the state semifinals and beat Ashland 6-0 in the state finals. Our team inductees into the North Reading High School Hornet Hall of Fame for 2022, the 1970 baseball team, please.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the committee for this award. I'd like to thank my teammates who were tremendous. I'd like to start by paying a compliment to Coach Frank Carey. The main reason I want to do it, I'm hoping this will be a big boost for Frank's fragile ego and poor self-image. As was mentioned, the 1969 team, which I was a junior on, was the first team to win a state championship for the school, 25-1, 24-1. 13 shutouts, we had a wagon. So we go into the next season without 6 seniors who were tremendous players that played for a long time. We start spring practice with 2 players with any varsity experience. My great friend and teammate Bob Dane, who passed away in 2016, and me, and Peter Quinlan, the best player I ever played with or against, was ineligible. But these guys stepped up, Frank stepped up, and I can't say what all these guys did. They all pitched in, the seniors who hadn't played much, it was a tremendous experience. And I wish you people, many of you have never heard of Peter Quinlan. Most of you have never seen him play. I wish you could have. 50 years later, we still talk about balls he hit and things he did. It was amazing. But thank you very much for this honor. It's great to be with my old teammates. Enjoy the evening. Thank you.
I want to thank Peter Hill for speaking for the team and sparing us from listening to Coach. I don't know if you heard Coach Carey when he stepped up here. I think the statute of limitations is over, so I'm going to repeat it on the microphone. Coach said in reference to Peter Quinlan being ineligible, I got his grades changed. All right, we'll move on to our individual inductees. Our first inductee comes to us from the class of 1963. 6 varsity letter winner in football, cross country, basketball, and outdoor track and field. Was a dual county league all-star. The North Reading, if you're not familiar, was in the dual county league at its start. Dual county league all-star in basketball. Was a team MVP of the basketball team, scoring 31 points in a game. Kipnis wouldn't let me shoot that much to get to 31. He's going to watch the video, so I'm going to throw that in there. Lost only 1 race his sophomore and junior year in outdoor track and field. He was injured his senior year. Played college basketball at Lowell State. Taught in Bedford, Mass. for over 30 years. Very interesting as well that as a student, got together with the athletic director at the time, Les Levy, and put together the school's first cross-country team. Our inductee this year, 2022, to the Hornet Hall of Fame, Ralph Bennett.
What do I do, Ralph? This is a microphone. What do I do? Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take a few minutes of your time. Listening to the previous descriptions of the inductees, I go back to a time when North Reading was a bedroom community, and my brother and I always used to talk about the fact that North Reading had a difficult time often in the dual county league with my buddy here, Ralph, who was a Bedford student. Actually, I teach with him for about 30 years. At any rate, we would have a challenging time. And my brother, who's 11 months younger than I am, we'd always be concerned that there were very few feeder systems. And the feeder systems that were described prior to me coming up here are precisely the kinds of things that we longed for back in those days. But I have a little bit of a story to tell you, because you probably saw me bring up an instrument. And you know the story about life and oysters? You know, you lift up an oyster and you pick out the pearls in your life. Well, I have had the incredible opportunity to have adults, and there weren't a lot of them, as I just mentioned, who helped guide me to heights that I'm incredibly proud of. Not, you know, Division I, not Division II. I got the chance to play Division III basketball. But your uncle, amazing man, Vincent Olivo, Salem State graduate, came to teach math in North Reading, was the first, I think he was actually the first basketball coach for North Reading, or maybe Bill Driscoll might have been, but he was the first coach of a period of time. He had some very good teams. If you look in the Hall of Fame, you'll recognize the name Martino brothers. They made it to the Tech tournament. They lost in Saugus in one of the preliminary rounds. Then we went through a little bit of a drought. I was part of that drought. We had a team that had some athletes on it. It's just that basketball wasn't their primary sport. I fell in love with the game. Like I said, I had a brother. Have a brother, and I owe him everything when it comes to the game of basketball. In the backyard, we honed our skills. And from a guy that also ran as a freshman, who didn't play as a sophomore, started as a junior for the North Reading High School basketball team. Moi. And I started my senior year. But along the way, I had another very strong interest. It's called music. Now, I want to see if you can recognize this. Now, wait a second. That's just the beginning. Anybody recognize that song? Yes. But I'm 76. That was written by a young man who eventually got knighted. It was written in the year that he turned 14. It wasn't on the Sgt. Pepper's album until he decided to put it on it, but he wrote that song in the ripe old age of 14. Now, he took opportunities at a revolutionary, you can't imagine how popular they were. The people who were around at that time know what I'm talking about. But I also grew up in a very musical family. And your high school. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I was there the other day. What an amazing contribution the community has put together to provide for the children of North Reading. Now, I go back to a day when I had 5th grade in the Flint building, which used to be the police station. It's the library. My 5th grade class was on the 2nd floor. I was in love with my 5th grade teacher. Well, to give you an idea of time, her husband was stationed at Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. And she used to tell us the stories. 6th grade was we called it the Legion Hall. It's right across from Batchel Street, across from Haverhill Street. And we had 6th grade there. Double sessions, by the way. The next year, we entered a brand spanking, state-of-the-art 7 through 12 junior senior high school. And in that interim, between 5th grade and junior high school, I took up playing music because my family was very musical. And I started on, they call this the licorice stick. Did you know that? Oh, you did? The person who was the first gentleman that was a mentor for me, his name was Harold Weiss. Remember Harold? Yes. No, Barry is my other buddy here, who was a classmate of mine who knew Harold very well because Barry would eventually become the director of music in Bedford, Mass, where I taught for 40 years. At any rate, I learned how to play clarinet in the 5th grade. And my dad was a musician, my brother was a musician, my mother was a musician. And we got a chance to play a lot. But athletics and music, Freshman year, I'm on the football team. I'm also on the band, in the band. How does that work on Thanksgiving Day? You want to know how it works? I dressed, I wasn't going to play. I think I weighed maybe 110. Freshman. Where was I? Oh yeah, 110. I dressed for the football game. 20 minutes before halftime, I ran into the old locker room, put on my band uniform, came out and performed in the band. And after halftime, went back and put my uniform back on with the pads. And dressed for the rest of the football game. You couldn't do that after, because obviously I wasn't going to play. But I still had and maintained a strong desire to play music. Junior year, I started as a starting guard on the basketball team. Senior year, same thing. The night before track season started, I was really excited. I was playing in the old gym, and I was the miler on the team. Looking forward to, cutting my time down. My best time was 5:1, which, anyway, I was looking forward to cutting about 30 seconds off that time because I was still growing, maturing and all of that kind of thing. So I'm playing basketball Sunday night in the gym. I come down on the side of my foot. I break my 5th metatarsal. 8 weeks in a cast. My track season gone. My high school career as an athlete gone. I still got my licorice stick. But I was just taking private lessons. Who knows where the Horseshoe Lounge is? No, anybody here? Anybody know Jean Russell? Jeannie Russell. She's a waitress there. Her uncle used to play clarinet, amazing clarinetist. He also played baritone saxophone. How many people remember the totem pole? The totem pole? Remember the totem pole? You know where 95 and the Mass Pike meet? There used to be a park there, and everybody from Boston used to either take the river or the trolley to a place called Norumbega Park. And all the big bands, Benny Goodman, Glenn Miller, the Dorsey Brothers, they all used to play there during that popular time. Of course, I'm coming up at the late part of it. This guy that I was taking private lessons from was the baritone saxophone player in that band. He said, "What are you doing next year?" I said, I really have no idea. I'll tell you what was on my mind. I wanted to play basketball. I wanted to play music. I was hoping to maybe go to school. And I followed skirts. Ooh, I wasn't supposed to say that, I'm sorry. He said, "Maybe I can get you an audition to go to Lowell State College." I said, "Really?" He got me the audition. I got in. I had the opportunity, because of Vinnie Olivo, because of Harold Weiss, because of John Mannheim, because of Dick Richardson, the person who taught me to be competent enough to play the clarinet poker. And if you want to know what the clarinet, get a little, let's see if I remember this. Like I said, I have to apologize. I stumbled through that. I started practicing today and hadn't played this thing for about 5 years. But I said, "Barry, I have to play some music. These athletes need to hear some music." It got me 40 years in public schools as an educator, and I thank Vinnie, I thank Harold, and all the people who have helped all of these athletes and all of the musicians, because you've heard all of the groups that have done so well. I thank all of those people for devoting their time, especially the two inductees that were just up here before I was, who devoted their time volunteering to build a foundation for the youth of this town in athletics. Thank you. When I'm 76.
Earned 10 varsity letters in the sports of soccer, indoor track and field, and outdoor track and field. She was a 2014 Massachusetts All-State Champion, that's all divisions, in the 100-meter hurdles. The D4 state champion in that same event in 2014 and 2015. And the runner-up in 2013. Was a national championship place winner in the shuttle hurdle relay, 2015 Cape Ann League MVP, and is still the school record holder for the shuttle hurdle relay and the team pentathlon. And is the former school record holder, the 55-meter hurdles, 100-meter hurdles, and the 400-meter hurdles. Captain of the soccer and indoor track and field and outdoor track and field, and now an inductee into the Hornet Hall of Fame, Cole Gudzinski.
Sorry, that was really hard to follow up.
I don't have a musical instrument, but
You want it?
no, I don't know how to play. I just wanted to say thank you first to my family for being my #1 supporters, my mom and dad and my sister, and my dad for being my inspiration for running. And he just finished his first 100-mile race last week. And thank you to K-Mac and Pins for staying after track practice was over just so that I could finish my workouts. And thank you for everyone who came. Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations, Cole. Our next inductee is of the class of 2009, earned 8 varsity letters in football, basketball, and baseball, was a Lester E. Levy Scholar Athlete in 2009, as well as Mr. Johnson noted before, Richard J. Phelps Scholar Athlete given out by the Globe. All-League in Cape Ann League All-League in 2007-2008 in football, and All-Star in basketball in 2009. It was an event on a Saturday morning or afternoon when a punt went in the air from the other team to watch what Darren Hartwell would do when that punt ended up in his hands. Just a fantastic athlete to watch play baseball, football, and basketball, and do not let his quiet demeanor deter you from thinking he wasn't a fierce athlete. One of the toughest kids we had play basketball. Darren Hartwell, congratulations. You got 2 for the Clearing Hall of Fame.
As Biz noted, my speech won't be very long either, but I just wanted to first thank the Hall of Fame Committee for putting this event on. This is really cool to catch up with some former coaches and players who I played with. I think it's really cool to kind of see the connection that North Reading sports has and brings different generations together. So that's been really cool to see. I obviously want to thank all of my coaches, some of whom are here today. Obviously Coach Carey and Coach Biz and Coach Casey for basketball, and my football coaches as well, Coach Wall and Coach Campobasso. They were instrumental in just the passion that I had for sports, which really started at a young age, a very young age for me. I've always been, athletics has been a huge part of my life since I was a kid, and I'm still working in sports now. It's been a huge part of my life overall, and that all started in North Reading. So thank you again to people like Bob Ramsdell, starting the youth programs. Youth sports was a big part of my life as well. And then finally to my parents. It wouldn't be possible without you guys signing me up for all of the youth sports that I played growing up, and shuttling me back and forth, and cooling me down when I got a little heated on the field. So that was, I can't say enough about what you guys meant to me for that. So thank you again, and appreciate it.
Congratulations, Darren. Our next inductee, member of the class of 2007. Played volleyball, basketball, and softball. As I mentioned with Darren, it was an event when a punt went up to Darren. It was an event to see whether this player in softball would be pitched to or intentionally walked. And when she was pitched to, she hit over 650 her senior year with 41 hits. Was a softball D3 state champion in 2007. As Mr. Johnson noted, hit the game-winning grand slam. Was also a tremendous volleyball player. Cal Player of the Year in volleyball in 2006. D3 All-State player as well in 2006. And was part of a girls basketball team that won for the first time in the state tournament in over 5 years. A tremendous athlete, certainly an event to see her hit a softball. I remember it was certainly a talked about event whenever the bat met the ball, because it was going someplace. Our inductee in the class of 2022, Stephanie May.
thank you all for this honor, to those who nominated and voted for me, and all of the athletic administration at North Reading High School, past and present. Oh, and I also want to send a special thank you to Mike Maloney, who persistently reached out to me via Facebook Messenger about this honor, because I did not respond at first. In my defense, his messages sounded like either a hacker or a computer virus. It's true. Can I have a minute of your time? As an athlete, you are used to setting goals and working hard to reach them. You have your own expectations on how you perform at each and every game. However, it's your coaches that keep you motivated and striving for more. I want to thank all of my coaches throughout the years, some of whom are in the room tonight. You always supported me, knowing I could be a better version of myself, but you also humbled and grounded me, which I greatly appreciate. I remember sometime in middle school, our North Reading travel ball team went to a hitting coach who said I swung the bat like a little league boy. It took me many years to realize that was a compliment. But really, most of my coaches knew exactly what I needed to hear before a big moment. My junior year, we were in an epic 12-inning playoff battle with Austin Prep. Right before I'm about to get up to the plate in the top of the 12th, Nicole Zimmerman stopped me and said, "Stay within yourself." It was all I needed to hear. Don't try to do too much. You are capable of handling this moment. And the words worked, because I hit a home run. I wouldn't be half the athlete I was without the supporting players around me. Thank you to my many, many teammates, some I expect will be up on this stage in the next few years, who always pushed me to be better. Whether it was chasing championships or school records, you kept me driven, but you made the experience so much more fun. There are so many stories that honestly might have only been funny in the moment, so for my own pride, I'll keep those in my memories. Thank you to my family, those who have known me since I was born, and those I added this year. You continue to be my biggest fans and undying supporters. Thank you to my sister, whom my dad made play sports for so long that it opened up my eyes to the athletic world. She was pretty decent, too. Thank you to my mom, who never complained after working a long day, and I asked her to come rebound for me or play catch, and for being the best personal physical therapist. She kept me on the field and court through many bumps, bruises, and plenty of sprained ankles. And finally, thank you to my dad, who I so wish was here to see this. Thank you for the thousands of hours driving me to every tryout, practice, and game. For being the first one to tell me I did a good job. And equally as important, that I did a not so good job. I fondly remember him telling me after a basketball game, I couldn't hit water if I fell out of a boat. Sports created a special bond for us that I will treasure forever. This has been an incredible honor, and I appreciate this moment so much. Congratulations to everyone else in the room.
Our next inductee is from the class of 2014. 11 varsity letter winner in volleyball, indoor track and field, and outdoor track and field. Was if I'm doing the math right, I believe an 8-time Cape Ann League champion in the shot put and the discus in outdoor and indoor track. Was the shot put state champion in 2014 in Division 4, and is still the spring track and winter track record holder for the shot put at North Reading High School. She was, and this name was mentioned earlier, and I should mention, she was the 2014 Nicholas Martino Award winner, an award given yearly to the best overall athlete, male and female, at North Reading High School. Our inductee in the class of 2022 to the Hornet Hall of Fame, Emily Murray.
Thank you very much. It's an honor even to be considered for this award, let alone speaking in front of you today. I'll be the first to admit that chucking large pieces of metal as far as you can while grunting and groaning to do so is not the most attractive sport, and can certainly go unrecognized, but I truly appreciate this honor. My entrance into track was unique. I did volleyball in the fall and basketball in the winter, as I always have, and there was no spring soccer option, so my brother and sister did track, so I thought I'd give it a try too. On the first day of practice, I quickly realized the only distance I'd be running was to the snack shack and back. So really field events were going to be my forte. And I did pretty okay, and Coach Pensopoulos saw something in me and started his campaign to get me to switch to winter track. I was kind of glared down in the hallways because he would always ask if I signed up yet. And I spent 2 weeks for my sophomore year on the JV basketball team before I walked into his homeroom and asked if he'd still take me. And he got up from tutoring a student and wrote a post-it note of how to switch to winter track. And that day I was brought down to track practice, which was in the back of the high school. We opened a large metal door, which was propped open by a rock, down a spiral staircase that was poorly lit to the basement underneath the high school. And it was a piece of plywood with a circle on it, and we threw against an old mat. But it did the job. It was held up by a pipe, which I don't know what was in that pipe, and I certainly hit it a few times, but I'm glad we never found out. I once again just want to thank Coach Pensopoulos for providing me some unwavering support. We hired a throwing coach during my years, Matt Dorothy, which I thank as well, and Mr. Maloney for my stint in volleyball. And of course, to my teammates and my parents, my mom for always making sure I had snacks packed and always put baking soda in my throwing shoes so they didn't smell. And of course, for my dad, he traveled all across New England to follow me for any of my throwing events. Made sure the snack shack was well stocked, especially past my time after I graduated, always helping out the program. So thank you very much.
Congratulations to Emily. How come when students describe the basement at the old high school, it sounds like that, but when Frank describes it, it's a hitting laboratory? I don't know. It seems a bit incongruous, but that's all right. Our final inductee of the evening was from the class of 2008. 10 varsity letter winner in soccer, indoor track and field, and baseball. Again, the 2008 Nicholas Martino Award winner for the best overall athlete of the class of 2008. Baseball team MVP in 2008 and 2007. Cal champions of baseball in 2007 and 8, and was part of a 3-year run to the North Sectional Finals, where they won the 2006 North Sectional Final and were finalists in 2007 and 2008. He was also MVP of the 2006 Cape Ann League champion soccer team. Would have been, was an all-league in 06 and would have been an all-league in 07 if injury didn't hit. And he's a member of the school record indoor track 4x400 meter relay team. Went on to pitch for Bryant University, a tremendous athlete and a well-deserved honoree here in the class of 2022 in the Hornet Hall of Fame. Brian O'Neill.
I think that's the first time Biz has ever said anything about me without making fun of me at the same time. It's incredible. I'm pretty nervous to be standing up here, I don't know why. Where I'm in front of the likes of Peter Hill, who I still quote to this day if I'm ever watching baseball and see somebody sliding into second base, or a kid just sliding in the park, I'll always just yell out, "Too much knee! Ah!" There are a couple other ones, but I'll leave those on the table. But really, I'm truly honored to be here tonight. I thank everyone in the committee, not just for considering me, but for also making this a reality. I'm certain that there was a lot of pushback when my name was being considered. I'm thinking Biz was probably in the middle of that, listing off some stats that just aren't measuring up for Hall of Fame, but I'm here. I obviously have to thank my parents. They've always supported me. They've sacrificed entire weekends and spent countless hours driving all over New England, not just for high school sports, but growing up skiing, spending weekends away all over New England at countless ski mountain resorts, spending a ton of money. I can never repay you for that. They do say, though, that behind every successful athlete is a committed family. And with that said, I'd also like to thank my siblings. Katie and Kristen are here. John, he couldn't make it tonight. They've always supported me just the same way that my parents have. And I'd also never hear the end of it if I didn't thank them tonight as well. So thank you, and thank you for being here. I can't speak highly enough about North Reading and the school system, the teachers and the coaches that work there. It's no secret why so many North Reading alumni return after college to teach and coach. It's truly a great environment with an impressive history of athletic success. By the time I got to high school, I already had a close relationship with a lot of the staff. Carrie Forrest, she taught me how to swim when I was 6. So if anybody has an issue with Biz, Carrie takes that. You came later on. But thank you. Where the hell was I? Anyway, and thank you to Biz, who just always seems to be around. To Joe Davis, I've known Joe forever. And to Frank Carey, whose summer camps were always a staple in my childhood. I was fortunate enough to have some terrific coaches in each sport that I played, and would like to thank all of them for helping me develop as an athlete and as a young adult. Specifically Frank Carey. Frank, I was about to continue reading, but I was told I should leave that off-color joke out of this. You would have appreciated it though, I think. But Frank, your knowledge of baseball and your ability to coach was unbelievable and helped me in so many ways. But most importantly, you instilled a mental toughness in me that has continued to pay dividends long after my athletic career. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Congratulations, Brian, who brought me back for a few years of jokes anyway. Before we conclude the evening, I do want to, Brian was kind enough to thank his family, and it reminded me of a story of how supportive Brian's family was. We had a game at Georgetown that we should have won easily, but we were struggling at, and I was told that at halftime, Brian needed to leave because he needed to get to the rehearsal dinner for his sister's wedding. And the first half did not go well. And his father came across the field, I'm thinking to get Brian, and he comes across the field and goes, keep him for a while, keep him for a while. So we kept him, and about 15 minutes later, we got a goal and got up 1-0, and I heard him across the field, okay, Brian, we can go now. So we did hold on to that 1-0 lead, so I appreciate that, Mr. O'Neill and Katie, for allowing him to stay for a little longer. Thank you all for attending. I want to finish, I'm glad that Brian brought up a Peter Hill quote, because I want to finish with a Peter Hill quote that I always use with my athletes, and it's to put one of these nights on takes a tremendous amount of planning. By the time we get to this point, I'm about ready to call it quits with the Hall of Fame. But by the end of this night, I'm ready to do another 5 more years. These nights are great, but they don't happen without the 6 Ps. They don't happen without proper preparation preventing piss poor performance. Okay? So that's the Mr. Hillism I always go with, and I want to thank the committee for their proper preparation, and I want to thank all of our inductees and all of you for coming out tonight. Congratulations to our inductees. Congratulations on being a member of the 2022 class of the Hornet Hall of Fame, and as always, you are forever Hornets. Thank you very much.
Thank you.